It's time to make tax matters priority number one. Visit sars.gov.za to update your personal and banking details. If you receive an auto-assessment and disagree with it, file your return using e-filing. If you don't receive a notice, visit e-filing to submit your tax return from 15 July 2024. Visit sars.gov.za for more information. Your tax matters. SARS, at your service.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for joining us today as we present to you this webinar on empowering women and persons with disabilities. My name is Gadla Moralo, and I will be your program director for today. It is a great pleasure for us as SARS to present this webinar to you, which we hope will be insightful based on the information that you will be provided with from SARS, the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, which is SEFA for short, the Small Enterprise Development Agency, SEDA, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, and the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, please let's note the following. You will be prompted to complete a short survey at the end of the program. Kindly note to please take the time to complete the survey, as it will assist us with getting feedback on the information that has been provided to you today. Please make use of our chat box as well at the bottom of your screen to post some of your questions and comments. Questions will be responded to in the Q&A session that we will have later on in the program. To protect your confidentiality, please do not disclose any personal information in the chat as part of your question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will try to respond to as many questions as possible during the Q&A session, but please note that you can also use the following email address should your question not be answered and you would still like feedback from us. The email address is womenandpwdwebinar@sars.gov.za. That's womenandpwdwebinar@sars.gov.za. The team will respond to your questions directly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you experience any interruptions during this webinar, please note that you can also join us on our SARS YouTube channel. This webinar will remain on the SARS YouTube channel for future reference. Please note that the information that will be shared with you today can also be accessed on the SARS website and the other websites that will be disclosed by our partners. Today's program will be divided into three parts. The first being a presentation from SARS. The second part will be a presentation from the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. And lastly will be our question and answer session with a panel of experts that will respond to your questions. To begin our program, please help me welcome Ms. Sismandiza Mbekeni, who will provide us with opening remarks to get our program underway. Ms. Mbekeni is the head of Gender Equality and Persons with Disabilities at SARS and is responsible for ensuring that SARS responds appropriately to its equality agenda. The platform is yours, Ms. Mandiza. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Fellow panelists, our fellow partners in this webinar, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to extend to all of you a warm welcome to today's webinar on the empowerment of women and persons with disabilities in trade in South Africa. It is a pleasure to see so many committed individuals joining us today as we come together to explore a very vital topic. The empowerment of women and persons with disabilities is crucial, not only for social equity and equality, but also for unleashing the full potential of every citizen in our country. Studies globally indicate that the SMME segment is very vital to decreasing unemployment and supporting sustainable economic growth. When we empower every individual, regardless of gender or disability, we create a vibrant economy where diverse talents and perspectives can thrive. Each citizen has unique abilities, insights, and experiences that can drive innovation and growth. By providing the necessary support and opportunities, we can ensure that everyone has the chance to contribute meaningfully to their families, communities, and the economy. Moreover, unleashing this potential leads to a more resilient and sustainable future. When people feel valued and have access to resources and opportunities, they are more likely to engage actively in trade and entrepreneurship, driving economic development from grassroots up. Throughout today's webinar, you'll be hearing from inspiring speakers who will share their valuable insights and experiences on empowering all, with a focus on the marginalized groups in trade. Together, we will discuss some interventions to remove barriers and create an inclusive environment where every citizen can achieve their fullest potential. As I conclude, and with your permission, Program Director, please allow me to share this poem from Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you for being here today, and let's work together to empower all individuals to contribute to a brighter future for South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sis Mandisa. Thank you for the lovely words and for opening our program and for the insightful poem. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first presenter, who is Vuyiswa Jamba from SARS. Vuyiswa is a customs branch manager with 21 years of experience. Vuyiswa has held different customs roles within passenger assessment, customs border control inspection, quality assurance, and operations management. Her responsibilities include building stakeholder relations, promoting service excellence, addressing taxpayer queries in coordination with other government departments, and increasing border control to prevent fraud and smuggling of commodities. Vuyiswa holds an advanced diploma in management from the Southern Business School, a diploma in general management from Lyceum, and is currently pursuing a postgraduate diploma in risk management from Menkosa. With that being said, I'd like to hand over the platform to Vuyiswa. Over to you, Vuyiswa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and good morning all. As Tatli has already alluded, I'm Vuyiswa Jamba, and I'll be presenting on behalf of SARS today. The presentation that I'll be sharing with you, it's actually meant for people with disabilities as well as women.
Please place your presentation on presentation mode, Sis Vuyiswa.
Thank you so much. The presentation that I'll be presenting to you today is actually prepared for women and persons with disabilities in trade. I will start with the SARS Vision 2024. Our vision is to build a smart, modern SARS with unquestionable integrity, trusted and admired by all. At SARS, for the sake of this presentation, I will only be concentrating on the 4, which is our strategic objective 1, 2, 4, and 8. Strategic objective 1, it says here, create awareness and clarity and certainty. That's why we are having this engagement this morning. Strategic objective 2, make it easy and simple to comply. We are making it easy for you to comply from anywhere using our digital platforms. Our strategic objective 3, which is making it hard not to comply. Non-compliance is punishable. And the last one that I will check with you is the collaboration with other stakeholders. That is why we are having strategic objective number 8, which is working with and through other stakeholders. As Katla has already mentioned some of the stakeholders that we are having with us today, that is why we are having SO8. Overview. South Africa has a diverse and vibrant. Yes, sister.
Kindly place your presentation on presentation mode and move with the slides.
On my side, it's on presentation mode.
Okay.
Is it still not on presentation mode? South Africa has a diverse and vibrant formal and informal sector where millions of people trade to earn a living. Women and persons with disabilities are a significant and diverse group of traders who face unique challenges and opportunities, such as lack of access to markets. Women and persons with disabilities, they don't only make a significant contribution to their household, but they also make a contribution to the economy, society, and the society at large. Many women and persons with disabilities do not have adequate knowledge and skills to manage their finances and tax affairs, especially in rural areas and informal sectors. This makes them vulnerable to exploitation from fraudsters and abuse from unscrupulous tax practitioners and clearing agents. This exploitation, it actually makes it hard for them to improve their economic situations because it limits their ability to claim their tax benefits and incentives. The domestic tax compliance pillars. Yes, ma'am.
Kindly restart your presentation, please. It's not moving for our audience.
Let me. Is it visible now, the presentation? I've taken it out of the presentation mode.
Okay. You know what? Let me assist you in presenting.
Please do, madam.
You may continue.
Thank you so much, and my apologies. On this slide, it's actually our overview. South Africa has a diverse and vibrant formal and informal sector where millions of people trade to earn a living. Women and persons with disabilities are a significant and diverse group of traders who face unique challenges and opportunities such as lack of access to the markets. Women and persons with disability traders make significant contribution to the economy, society, and their households. Many women and persons with disabilities do not have adequate knowledge and skills to manage their finances and tax affairs, especially in rural areas and informal sectors. This makes them vulnerable to exploitation, fraud, and abuse by unscrupulous tax practitioners and clearing agents. This exploitation, it actually limits them in terms of getting their incentives, and it also limits how they can improve their status within the economy. Domestic tax compliance pillars. We've got 4 pillars, which is the registration, declaration, payment, and deregistration. In order to do business with SARS, companies need to be registered with CIPC first, which is Companies Intellectual Property Commission. After they've been registered with CIPC, SARS will automatically register those companies for income tax. Sole traders need to register through the digital channels, as well as we have our VAT and payee that we can also register via our e-filing. Declaration, which is our second pillar. Here we've got a number of items. However, I will only look at 2 of those, which is the ITR 14 and ITR 12. The ITR 14 need to be submitted by businesses each tax year, and the tax year is 1 March to 28 February. Payments. Provisional tax return, which is an IRP6. This return needs to be submitted within 6 months from the beginning of the year of assessment. And then the second one needs to be submitted after 12 months. The last pillar that we are having, which is the deregistration. When you are no longer trading, you need to deregister with SARS. However, companies need to ensure that they deregister with CIPC before they can deregister with SARS. Business expenses that are claimable. Taxes are a major expense for any business, more especially for small businesses that have limited resources and cash flow. However, there are many ways that small business owners can reduce their tax liability by claiming deductions for various expenses related to their business operations. Tax deductions are expenses that can be subtracted from your taxable income, which is the amount of money that you earn from your business before taxes are applied. By reducing your taxable income, you also reduce the amount of taxes that you have to pay. There are many types of tax deductions that small business can claim depending on the nature and size of their business. The examples of business expenses. We do have a number of the expenses on our left column, and then on the right column are the supporting documents. However, we'll only go through a few. The first one being the office rental. With office rental, your supporting documents are your monthly invoices. And then we also have bank charges. With bank charges, you need to submit your bank statements. And with your telephone, you need to submit your monthly statements. Now we move to the submission of the nil returns or nil declarations. Traders or taxpayers who did not trade in a particular period must declare 0 trade by submitting a nil declaration form or returns. What is the importance of filing a 0 return? It is so that you can ensure that your taxpayer or traders, they remain compliant within SARS regulations, as well as to avoid penalties or fines for non-submission. It also assists in terms of maintaining an accurate and up-to-date tax history, which can be essential for future financial assessment or audits. It also simplifies the process of reactivating a tax account when income is earned in future. Payment deferment. We are talking about domestic taxes. Payment deferment is designed to assist individuals and business experiencing temporary financial difficulties, allowing them to manage their cash flow without incurring significant penalties and interest. However, there are conditions that need to be met, and there's also a criteria for eligibility. The eligibility criteria is that there needs to be a proof of financial hardships, and also there should be compliance with tax obligations. Conditions of deferral, it's adherence to payment plan, ongoing compliance, and regular updates to SARS. The company tax incentives. We have quite a number of them, which is the employment tax incentive, learnership, small business corporation, turnover tax. However, I will only look at the turnover tax. The turnover tax, you need to have a turnover of less than R1 million in a period of 12 months, and you will be taxed on your turnover. The tax compliance status. How does it work? The tax compliance status system allows taxpayers to obtain a tax compliance status PIN in real time instead of a manual tax certificate. What are the options for TCS system? It's good standing and approval international transfer. Where to request your tax compliance status? Tax compliance status can be requested via SARS e-filing, SARS mobile app, or SARS online query system. Now we move to the second part of the presentation, which is the customs and excise part. Customs and excise compliance pillars, we also have 4 pillars here, which is your registration or licensing, declaration, payment, cancellation, or withdrawal. Before you can do any business, you need to be registered as a legal entity. Then you can go and apply for an import and export code. And then we do have a unit in SARS, which is a registration, licensing, and accreditation. That is where you'll do your registration. And you can also do the registration via e-filing. The second pillar, which is the declaration. We have returns, forms, clearance or customs clearance declaration. In order for you to do your declaration, you need to engage the services of a clearing agent. However, you can also have your in-house clearing agent. And when you do your clearances, ensure that you provide your clearing agent with a clearing instruction that is going to ensure that the declaration is done correctly and according to your requirements. Also, there are parts that are there on the declaration, such as your country of origin, tariff codes, value, etc. Those are payment. Under payments, we've got duties and taxes, import and export levies, e-filing. Remember that you can also do your payment via e-filing, and we do encourage you to use our e-filing systems. Cancellation or withdrawals. When you no longer trading, you need to come to customs and ensure that you completed DA 185. This can be done at a branch, or you can also do it via e-filing. As customs, we are encouraging you to use our e-filing system. Non-compliance. Failure to adhere to the provision of the Customs and Excise Act number 91 of 1964 and Income Tax number 58 of 1962 is considered an offense and may render the client liable to monetary penalties, criminal prosecution, seizures and forfeiture, suspension, cancellation of registration. Your license can also be cancelled, as well as your accreditation status can also be cancelled. Customs and excise incentives. We have quite a number of incentives under customs and excise. Here, the first one is the sector assistance scheme, sector partnership fund. We have the rebate for 70.03. And on the next screen, we have the special economic zone incentives. We also have the authorized economic operator incentives, which is our AEO. And the benefit with you being registered with AEO is that you will get special recognition by SARS to move your goods speedily at the least cost. Now we move to our customs payment, which is now the deferment payments. Customs deferment arrangements by deferring the payment of customs duty and VAT for a period of up to 30 days. Here it means that you can import and pay later. You don't have to pay VAT or your duties immediately when you are importing. The deferment accounts are payable within 7 calendar days from the close of the deferment account period. This date is known as the agreed payment date and may differ from one client to another. As customs, we also accept the partial payments on the deferment. However, it should be noted that the full amount must be made before or on the agreed date to avoid any penalties and interest that are going to be charged on the outstanding amount. Now we move to the customs online traveler declaration. The Customs Online Traveler Declaration is an online declaration platform that was implemented and can be accessible through any device with internet connectivity. The system enables travelers to pre-declare goods in their possession. The traveler entering or leaving South Africa must declare any goods, including cash or currency, in their possession and vehicles. Below here, we have the Traveler Declaration Systems video. The video is actually a short video of 1 minute 26 seconds. It's actually a step-by-step video on how you are going to complete your declaration online. Then we've got the Traveler's Leaflet. The Traveler's Leaflet has got information such as your duty-free allowances, your cash restrictions, your prohibited and restricted goods. On this slide, we are now going to talk about our dispute processes. The dispute process for SSME domestic taxes. After the assessment has been concluded or the decision has been made, as a taxpayer, you do have a right to request for reasons if you are not clear or not happy. And after you've been provided with reasons and you still feel aggrieved, you can object to the decision that has been made. And if the decision still was not in your favor, you can also go via our appeal process. And then from there, if you are still feeling that you are still aggrieved, you can go via the alternative dispute resolution or the litigation route. The dispute process, customs and excise. When there's a contravention that has been detected by customs or excise, and then you've been issued with a penalty, you are able to go and make a representation if you do not agree with the penalty that was imposed. And if you still feel that your representation didn't go according to how you would have wanted, you can appeal. And then from the appeal process, if the decision is still not favorable, you can go via our alternative dispute resolution, or you can also go via the litigation route. Record keeping. All taxpayers, including individuals, businesses, and traders, are required to maintain a variety of records that fall into several broad categories, including financial, transactional, and operational documents. Records must be obtained for at least 5 years from the date of submission of a tax return. However, if your return or your declaration there's a case in terms of audit or investigation, those records need to be kept up until the case has been resolved. Meaning, if the case takes more than a period that is more than 5 years, you wait up until the case is resolved. Now we move to the third part of the presentation, which is safety, security, harassment, and gender-based violence. At SARS we have a harassment and gender-based violence-free environment. SARS is intolerant of any form of harassment and any act of violence within its premises and the borders. As SARS, we ensure that we say stop violence against women. Security, safety, harassment, and gender-based violence. SARS endeavor to create a safe environment for everyone by encouraging its officials to monitor their individual behaviors and speaking up when colleagues cross the line, or by reporting instances wherein the working environment is unsafe. We encourage cultural diversity. SARS embraces tolerance, diversity, and the protection of women and vulnerable groups, and will endeavor to ensure their safety and build a better trade facilitation environment for future generations, women in particular. The reporting channel for cases involving employees. When employees solicit payments for any SARS services, as a taxpayer, you are able to go and report that. If you suspect that any bribery, fraud, theft, or other breach has occurred or may occur within the involvement of or by any SARS employee, you may request to remain anonymous should you and/or the circumstances so require. Reports must be made in good faith. That is, reasonable suspicion must exist. Report any fraud, corruption, serious misconduct, or unethical behavior here. We do have our anti-corruption line. You can go here on anti-corruption at sars.gov.za, or you can also go via the speak out at sars.gov.za. Fraud and corruption. SARS is committed to clamping down any activities relating to tax fraud. However, tax matters are confidential and therefore no feedback can be provided to any whistleblower in terms of Section 67 to 69 of the Tax Administration Act. You can report any suspicious activity through the channels below. Here is the link that you can use to report, as well as the hotline that we are having there, which is 0800 002870. Taxpayers, traders, and travelers are encouraged to speak out whenever they experience any form of harassment within our ports of entry and at any SARS premises. The emergency numbers to report cases of gender-based violence are here in below. We have the SARS National Security Command Center, the GBV Command Center, the SARS Crime Stop, as well as the Stop Gender Violence, which is 0800 150 150. SARS will always listen attentively to victims of gender-based violence. We hear you, we believe you, we stand with you. our previous education webinars. If you have missed any of our live stream, which is YouTube webinars, a complete list of all the recordings are available on our SARS TV channel. For a complete list of the webinars to date, visit the webinars webpage. We go digital. Remember our digital channels. We've made it easy for you with our digital platforms. We've got the SARS Mobi app, SARS e-filing, SARS online query system, our SARS USSD, and WhatsApp. We are also active on the social media platforms. We've got your LinkedIn, Facebook, X, which is formerly known as Twitter, as well as WhatsApp. For more information, visit the SARS YouTube channel as well as the SARS website. Thank you. And I'm handing back to you, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Sis Voyiswa. Thank you for that insightful information. Ladies and gentlemen, we now are at the end of the first presentation. We thank you for your attentive listening. We hope that you have found the information that we've shared to be of value. We urge you to please use the channels that Sis Voyiswa has mentioned. This information will be made available to you after this website. And ladies and gentlemen, kindly remember to use the email box that we indicated earlier, which is women@pwdwebinar@sars.gov.za to post your questions. We will also make information available through to you upon request on this email address, and we will respond to all your questions accordingly. We are now entering into the second part of our webinar, which is the second presentation from Mr. Don Mashela from the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, which is SEFA for short. Don is Head of Development Impact Support at SEFA. His responsibilities include, amongst others, ensuring that SEFA's direct lending unit achieves its development impact outcomes. Before assuming his current role, he was a project manager at Kula Direct Pilot Project, which was a project that positioned Kula to enter the retail lending space. He has been in development finance for over 20 years. His career in finance, specializing in SMME finance, started from back in 1993 as a business advisor for the Small Business Development Corporation, which is today known as Business Partners. In 1994, he joined Standard Bank as a monitoring officer in the SMME unit. Then, the Independent Business Enrichment Center in 1996. He had a stint with the Northwest Development Corporation before joining Kula. In 1998, Don has a Bachelor of Commerce degree, which he obtained from the University of the North, the Teflop campus. He also has a certification in Management Development Program from the University of Pretoria, Bank Credit Management from Damlin, and a certificate in the Consultancy of Small and Medium Industries obtained from the Japan International Cooperation Agency. With that being said, I'd like to hand over to Ndate Mashela to provide us with his presentation. Thank you. The platform is yours, Ndate Mashela. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Director, the management of SARS, for giving us this opportunity as SEFA to showcase the programs that we have. I'm trying to share the presentation. Please let me know once you can see my presentation and if it's on a presentation mode.
Yes, we can see it and it's on presentation mode. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, and thanks to the women and persons with disabilities in trade that have joined us today. Without you, this webinar wouldn't have been possible. As indicated, I'm with SEFA, Small Enterprise Finance Agency. SEFA is an implementing agency of the Department of Small Business Development. So the department has got two entities. It's SEFA ourselves. We deal with access to finance. We've got SEDA. SEDA, our sister organization, they deal with non-financial support. So anything that is going to do with business development support, including some of the issues that were mentioned in the first presentation by SARS around compliance. If you need assistance with some of those things, you can, through a SEDA branch, get assistance to make sure that you do comply. So you also know by now that we've got a new entity called the Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency, which includes the third entity, which is the Cooperative Development Bank. So we've got 3 entities as we speak now under the department, but currently what I'm going to present is mainly the SEFA as well as SEDA intervention. This slide, what we're trying to show here is our operating model, how we get the funding that we provide to SMMEs and cooperatives. So we do quite a number of things, but what is relevant for this webinar will be the support that we provide to MSMEs through our direct lending channel. Through the direct lending channel, we provide funding directly to businesses. It can be someone who wants to start a business, someone who wants to expand a business, or someone who wants to purchase a business. So we have put together what we call financing products. By financing products, we mean the instruments that we use to support businesses. The limit that we have as SEFA in terms of the maximum loan that we can provide is 15 million rands. But I will, towards the end of the presentation, also share the different programs that we do have. But now here, what we are sharing is that the funding that we provide assists businesses. It can be someone who wants to purchase an asset. So you've got a business, you want to purchase an asset, we'll use an instrument called the asset finance. Here we're talking about those assets. It could be equipment, it could be machinery, it could be vehicles. For your business, we use the asset finance instrument to support the acquisition of those assets. We also have what we call term loans. A term loan instrument, we use the term loan to support any other form of an asset outside of asset finance. What I mean by this, if you're thinking in terms of, for instance, your furniture, your fittings, your fixtures, you have a business, you want to acquire such, it could be chairs, which may not be defined as an asset. Because remember now, an asset will be something that has got a unique serial number, a unique registration number. But if you're buying those kind of, if you call them general type of assets, like I said, your furniture, your fixtures and fittings, we use term loans to do that. We also use a term loan instrument for working capital. You know, some of the businesses that we support, someone might be saying, yes, I need assets, but in addition to that, I probably need funding for working capital to run the business. So we're able to use the term loan instrument to support such businesses. The third instrument is what we call bridging loans or contract financing. Here, we're talking about those businesses that would have acquired contracts. You've got a contract from another business. It could be a business in a private sector. It could be a business in a public sector. You've got a contract and you're looking for funding to service that particular contract. So you come to SEFA with that kind of a contract. We look at the contract. We obviously have to build the cash flow around this contract to make sure that it's a sustainable contract. You'll be able to make money and be able to repay the expenses that are linked to the contract and be able to afford a loan. So we use a bridging loan or a contract financing instrument for such businesses. We have got what we call a revolving credit loan. This instrument is mainly used for our existing clients. So some of the clients that we have, you might find that someone has got a contract. It's a contract with a longer duration and it's got a fixed amount in terms of how much you're going to make within that contract. Let me give an example. Let's say you've got a 3-year contract. The value of the contract could be, give or take, let's say 15 million. What it means is that Within 3 years, you will be getting a number of orders or purchase orders within that contract. So what we do is that the first contract that you get, we'll obviously do a thorough due diligence on the application, but going forward, once you get subsequent orders, we use a revolving credit facility rather than you having to submit a new application each time you've got an order. So we use a revolving credit loan for such transactions. So those are the 4 instruments that we have. Just to recap quickly: asset finance for identifiable assets, term loan for working capital, and other form of assets, your bridging loans for those that have got contracts, and lastly, those that have got longer contracts and they'll be getting multiple purchase orders. We use a revolving loan. So those are the instruments that we have at SEFA. Now, the next thing now is that who's eligible, who can apply for SEFA funding. So this is a list of eligibility. One, it must be, in terms of natural persons, we're talking here individuals. You must be a South African citizen with a valid ID document. Juristic person here, we're talking about those corporations. We're talking about PTYs, registered companies with CIPC. I think my previous presenter did mention issues around registrations with CIPC. We also similar, we expect companies to register before they could apply. The third one is that we only finance businesses that operate within the borders of South Africa. So we do not fund businesses that operate outside the Republic. But what it means, it doesn't mean that you can't export. If you are in the business of exports, you have your business registered in South Africa, it's your client or the market that it's sitting offshore. So we can do export transactions, but the business has to be domiciled here in South Africa. The other one is that the controlling interest, which is 50% plus 1, must be held by South African. In case where you've got a partnership with someone who's not South African, say 51%, which the majority shareholding must be held by South African. Now, generally, in terms of employment, we're saying that 95% of employees that work in that particular business have to be South African. So 5%, if not South African, obviously you need to have valid work permits and to make sure that we promote the jobs locally. The other one in terms of management, again, if you happen to have a company that has got more than one partner shareholder, at least there must be one shareholder or partner or member who is operationally involved in the business. So you cannot apply for SEFA funding and do this on a part-time basis. There must be someone operationally who's involved in the day-to-day running of the business. The other one, again, is the issue of developmental impact. We are a development financial institution. The things that we do, we make sure that we achieve developmental impact. And developmental impact can be measured in a number of ways. It could be jobs, it could be businesses that are owned by women, by persons with disabilities, by youth. They're operating in township and rural areas. So we measure such things. The other one, we only provide loans. We do not have grants. Later on, I will unpack our programs because we've got programs where we have combined a loan and a grant into one instrument. So because we provide loans which needs to be repaid, it's very important for us to make sure that the business that we support are financially sustainable and viable. Exclusions, there are certain businesses that we can't fund quickly. If I go through the list here, we talk about speculative real estate. If you are in a property business and speculative in nature, it's a real estate, you're buying, you're probably building or developing houses with an expectation that the market will go up and people will start buying houses, a development type of thing. We don't do that. However, if you've got a contract, let's say you've got a contract to build houses from whoever, it can be private sector or it can be public sector, we can't do those kind of things because it's not speculative in nature. You already have a defined contract. If someone is under debt review, they were insolvent and never rehabilitated, under business rescue or liquidation, we obviously cannot touch such transactions. The the business that is involved in arms and ammunition, we're talking here an entire value chain, is probably, it can be manufacturing, it could be retailing. We don't do such businesses. The so-called sin industries, the morally repressive sectors like tobacco and alcohol, we don't do such transactions. However, if, for instance, let's say you've got a B&B as an example, and in that B&B you've got a corner bar for your guests, we can do such transactions because the main generator of revenue is not that you're selling alcohol. You're selling beds, you're selling accommodation. We can do such transactions. Again, another example, you've got a restaurant, you're selling food, you've got a corner bar where you're selling alcohol, we can do that. But if the main generator of revenue is coming from alcohol and tobacco-related products, we don't do such transactions. Labor broking, we do not do. In terms of compliance, we need to make sure that before we can provide funding, you are compliant in all spheres of compliance, including, and very much, very important, the SARS compliance that was shared earlier on. Now, the second part of the presentation, it talks about the programs that we have. So remember, when I started, I was talking about the funding instruments, but now talking about the programs. And the programs is nothing else but what we have done is to put together programs to address the needs of certain sectors, as it were. So we've got a program that is designed to support businesses that operate in township and rural areas. It's called TRAP. So this program, it's limited. The limit under TRAP for now is R1 million. In this program, we are combining a loan and a grant into one instrument. So if you're applying for funding under TRAP, 50% of what one is applying for is a grant, and the other 50% is a loan. But the grant is limited to 100,000. And the loan part, the interest rate that we charge under the loan part is only 5%. So come to think of it, you're running a business in a township in a rural area, you're looking for 100,000 as an example. 50,000 of that is a grant, you don't have to pay it back. The other 50% will be a loan at 5%, which is very cheap interest rate. At the top part of the threshold, you apply for R1 million. Remember, the grant is limited to 100,000. So your grant will be 100,000, and the 900,000 loan we will only charge 5%. So this is a program that is targeted at assisting businesses in township and rural areas. Who's eligible to apply in terms of businesses? All forms of businesses. We're just giving examples there when we say clothing and textile, bakeries, cheese and yam, and so on. All forms of legal businesses in township and rural areas can apply for this program. Again, the issue of eligibility, very similar with the eligibility that I presented here, but the main difference here would be the issues of jobs. So the jobs that we expect here, we're saying that 70% of employees has to be South African, and then the 30%, if not South African, need to hold valid work permits. Again, the issue of compliance, the business have to comply in terms of the bylaws and any other relevant legislation. Entrepreneurs that apply for this program, we also saying that encourage that you separate, your banking account, separate your banking affairs from a personal bank account to a business bank account, because these are things that we can take for granted. But when we introduced this program, we realized that some of the businesses operating in township and rural areas, there was no distinction between the affairs of the business when it comes to banking. The banking account, the personal bank account is used for business. But we are saying here, if we're to run sustainable businesses, you need to do that separation. So we encourage that to separate banking account, personal and business for governance reasons and so on. The second program, which is more relevant for this for the audience as well, is what we call Amavulantlela funding scheme. Amavulantlela funding scheme has been put together to support entrepreneurs with disabilities. So if an entrepreneur has got any form of a disability, we are providing funding. The minimum is 50,000 rands and the maximum is 15 million rands. So here, the funding that we provide, the interest rate that we charge is prime plus 5. So if you check what the prime rate is today, you are sitting at about what, 11.75, being our prime rate as a country. And if you take out 5% of that, so you're able to get funding at about 6.75%, which is very, very cheap funding. So the maximum, like I said, is 15 million rands. The repayment is about 60 months. Through this program, we're able to provide grant funding for putting together a feasibility study or a business plan. So if you've got an entrepreneur with a disability, you still need some assistance in terms of putting together a business plan or feasibility study. We're able to provide funding, which is a grant funding that we provide for that. And the maximum there, we're talking about 5% of what you're applying for. And then the threshold, the maximum is 75,000. We also, through this program, provide post-loan support. Again, which is a grant. If there is a need, we'll allocate a mentor, and that particular mentor will assist in any form of an area or a gap that we see in a business through mentorship. So the maximum there, we can provide up to 350,000 as a maximum for mentorship for entrepreneurs with disabilities. So this is the Amavulantlela funding scheme being the second program. The third program, called the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program. So this program is designed to assist those businesses that are in the manufacturing space. So if you are manufacturing any form of a commodity, including agro-processing, by the way, so you are in the manufacturing business, you are able to apply for this scheme. Here we can finance businesses to purchase machinery and equipment, working capital, product accreditation, certification, and testing. The maximum that we provide here is 15 million rands, which is a SEFA maximum. The instrument or the program is blended, again, a combination of a loan and a grant. The maximum that you can apply for, 20% of that, if you're applying for 15 million, 20% of that is a grant. The maximum grant is capped at 2 million rand. The debt portion, which is the loan part, we only charge prime. So we don't normally say, like we will normally do, say, prime plus the margin of risk, then becomes the rate that you pay. We only charge prime irrespective of the amount of the risk that we see in that particular business. Eligibility criteria are very similar with the other ones. CIPC registered, 100% owned by South Africans, at least be 2 years in existence, because here we're talking about manufacturing. We can consider a startup or a greenfield startup business if you've got strong letters of intent, probably strong offtake agreements, then we can consider a startup. Because remember, in manufacturing, you need to penetrate the market and be sure that whatever you want to do in terms of investing that part of equipment to do those, whatever you be manufacturing, you've got market for those kind of things. And then 51% black owned and managed, and be compliant with SARS, amongst other regulations that you need to comply with. So that is the Small Enterprise Manufacturing Support Program. The third program, the fourth program, is your Youth Challenge Fund. So the Youth Challenge Fund is designed to assist young people up to the age of 35. So in terms of the Youth Challenge Fund, the funding that we provide, it differs from someone who wants to start a business and someone who wants to expand a business. So let's start with someone who wants to start a business. So if there's a young person who wants to start a business, it's a greenfield, the maximum that we provide for startups is 2 million rands. It's a combination of a loan and a grant. The grant part, it's about maybe let me start here. Let me start by also outlining that under the Youth Challenge Fund, we've got what we call a red channel and a blue channel. What we mean by that is that the red channel is actually for those businesses that are in technology and innovation space. And then the blue channel are those businesses that are in any other sector outside of technology and innovation. So if we then go back and say, okay, now in terms of the amount of loans that we provide for startup businesses and someone is under a red channel, the grant that we provide is 40% and the loan is 60%. If it's outside of technology and innovation, the grant is 30% and the loan is 70%. The loan part, we only charge 5% interest rate. So just to recap and make sure that it's clear, startup businesses, you are in information and technology, you can get a grant of 40% and a loan of 60% and 5%. Any other sector, you still get 2 million as the maximum, and the grant is 30%, and the loan is 70%, 5% being the interest rate. So now, if it's not a startup business, someone wants to expand the business. So there, the maximum becomes a SEFA maximum again of 15 million rands. The split between the grant and the loan is the same. 20% becomes a grant, and 80% becomes a loan. Interest rate is the same, it's the same at 5%. Eligibility, again, very, very, very similar. The only distinction here, obviously, will be the age, between 18 and 35, because we are talking here about young people, fully under the youth category. The last program is what we call the Tourism Equity Fund. So here we are targeting businesses that are in the tourism sector. And again, tourism, it can be any form of tourism business, as long as it's linked to the tourism value chain. It could be accommodation, it could be hospitality and related industries, travel and related services, or any other tourism related product. You probably have a restaurant and your target market you service is tourists. You can apply for the Tourism Equity Fund. So the Tourism Equity Fund, you can use the funding to acquire businesses, which is acquisitions. You may want to start a business or probably have an existing business that you want to expand. So you can apply for this kind of program called under the Tourism Equity Fund. The maximum is 15 million rands. And again, here we provide a grant of up to 35%. So we use a scorecard where, depending on the nature of the business in terms of the jobs that you're creating, when it's a woman-owned business, it's a startup, those kind of things, we put that in a scorecard, and the scorecard will tell us the amount of grant that we can provide. So that is the Tourism Equity Fund. So because this webinar, amongst other things, is about, okay, you hear what you're talking about, but now how do I access the funding? It's very much important to make sure that when you apply at SEFA, you give us all forms of relevant documents that we need, because that assists to speed up the process, assists in us having to take, have all the information to take a decision in terms of the credit application that you have submitted. So here we are saying that we're just sharing this list, just understand, because sometimes you can look at a list and say, but you guys require a lot of documents. But if we then give you the rationale why we need certain documentation, it becomes very easy for you to understand and be able to cooperate and submit those businesses. The first issue is around affordability. We are a lending institution registered with the National Credit Regulator. Whatever we do, we need to comply with the National Credit Act. So with that said, that means when we provide funding, we need to be responsible. We need to make sure that we provide or we conduct affordability testing to make sure that we don't provide a loan into a business and only to find that down the line you can't afford that kind of a loan. Doesn't help you, doesn't help the business, it doesn't help anyone. So it's important for everyone to make sure that we do proper affordability testing. So when you look at the list of documents that we require for affordability, it's got a longer list, and it's important where it's applicable for your business, make sure that you do provide such documentation. The other one is around the compliance with what we call Financial Intelligence Center Act, which is FICA. And FICA is nothing else but to say, if you provide funding to a business, make sure that you know the client that you're supporting. So we obviously will look for things like your ID document, your marriage certificate, your proof of address, because you cannot provide a loan into a business or a legal entity or an entity that you do not know. The other one is in addition to affordability, we also need to check the capacity of that particular business to deliver. So if you've got a contract, or maybe you don't have a contract, you're running a business where you're depending on passing trade, amongst other things, it's important to check the capacity of the management of that particular business, their experience of the shareholders, etc., and be able to then say the jockey or someone who's running this kind of a business has got what it takes to make success of the business. The issues of commitment, we don't ask for security. You know, we are a state entity. We do risk capital, and risk capital, which means we only rely on the cash flows and the profits made by the business to repay the loan. So the only security that we will take, it's in the form of the assets that we finance. If you're saying you need us to finance equipment, machinery, the only form of security we'll take will be that equipment. But if you do have other forms of security, it doesn't mean that we'll walk away and not take the security. If it's there, we'll take it. But for us, it's not actually a requirement. So to test commitments, amongst others, we expect the shareholders, directors of the company to sign some surety to make sure that at least we are all in this business together. And the issue of compliance, you know, you need to comply with whatever, you know, SARS presented earlier on around compliance. And there are other areas where you need to comply. So we check that. If you're not compliant, you know, we are not able to proceed. This document, which we call the funding template, because the other thing could be, what is it that we'll need for you to put together as a business plan before we can consider your application? If you have a contract, first price, we don't need a business plan because we already have a contract. But in the case where you do not have a contract, what we have done, rather than say to you, we need a business plan, because there are so many templates of business plans out there in the market. So we have narrowed down the issues that will require in that particular funding proposal. So we developed this, we call it the common funding template. It was not only developed by SEFA, we worked with the IDC, we worked with the NEF, with CEDA, and some few banks to put this together. Because remember, in terms of lending, whether it's a development financial institution under government or a lending institution, commercial lending institution as a bank, the requirements in terms of the things that we need are very, very similar. We will differ, or the difference will be, for instance, SEFA will never ask for security, will never ask for own contribution unless it's there. But in terms of assessing the affordability of the business to repay the loans that we provide, very, very similar things. That's why we've got this document called the Common Funding Template. So I won't go into detail. We have the document on our website. You can download it. It will guide you when you're putting a proposal together. What are the things that we require? You know, your company information. Tell us about your company. CIPC registered company. We need to know about that. The shareholder or member information, we need to know that, because the company is just a legal entity. It's run by individuals. So we need to know who are those people, the structure of the company. Some companies are complex. You know, you need to have a form of a structure or an organogram to run a particular company. If you're in manufacturing, for instance, you know, you need to have different structures to run that kind of a business. The business operations, again, define that. You know, if you're in farming, define that for us. If you've got a retail business, whatever kind of business you're in trade, you need to define that. The products and services, we need to know. Because remember, a business solves a problem. And the problem that you're solving is by the products and services that you're giving to the market. So we need to know that what kind of products and services and what kind of a problem are you actually solving by offering the products and services that underpin your business. The market and industry analysis, and again, this shouldn't be like a theoretical explanation of the market and industry analysis. You need to understand the industry. If you, for instance, you are in the petroleum industry, you've got a filling station as an example, you need to understand that kind of an industry. You cannot go into a business that you don't understand. Target market, who are you targeting? You've got customers, who's your target market. Understand also the buying behavior of your target market. Your marketing strategy, how are you going to promote your business? There is social media today, we somehow would argue it's a bit of cheaper, if you like, type of advertising or marketing. But again, maybe that may not work for your business. You can use other channels and have a marketing mix that can work for your business. So you need to tell us about that. The sales strategy, how are you penetrating the market? The competitive environment. There is no business that is a monopoly. So you need to understand your competition and also understand how different is your business from the competition. What is your edge? What will make customers not go to your competitors and come to you? You need to understand that, because once you understand that, you strengthen those things and then you're able to attract customers, as it were. Location, for certain businesses, location is very important. But I think COVID has taught us one thing, that not all businesses where location is an issue, but for some businesses, yes, location remains strategic, remain important. Again, I'll use an example of a filling station or a shop, whatever the case is. But there are certain businesses where location may not be that critical. We've got online trading now. Some people don't even have offices, working from home, those kind of things. So the issue of location has to be strategic, and you need to actually select a location that that works for your business. As they say, there are three important things in business, and it's location, location, and location. Number 12, the external environment. Here we're talking about your political environment, economic environment, the social environment, the technology surrounding your business, the environment compliance, and then the legal compliance that you need to observe in your business. So again, external environment, it can't be a theoretical thing. You need to look, if maybe we start with the political environment, maybe you are in the export business, you're exporting to other countries. You need to understand the politics in that particular country. Even if it's local business, maybe somehow the politics do affect your business one way or the other. Economic environment, most, if not all businesses will be affected by this. The social environment, like technology, again, technology is something that, has taught us, again, through COVID, that there are certain things that we can do through technology. Environmental compliance, like I said earlier, is very important, and as well as the legal environment. The funding requirements, you need to have done your research. I did say that our programs in the main, the maximum is 15 million. But if you're saying that you want us to fund a startup business or an expansion, you need to have done your research and be able to say, what is it that I need? For the fact that we are saying 15 million is a cap, you don't have to apply for 15 million. Do your research, get your quotations, know exactly how much you're looking for, and then unpack that for us. The financial model, here we're talking about, remember we spoke about affordability. So one of the things that we check, if you don't have a contract, maybe you rely on passive trade for your business. We're talking about here about projections. You must give us projections. Our loan repayments in the main is 60 months. So you need to give us projections per month and then annualized, and be able to say, this is how much I'm going to be making. So that again cannot be a thumb suck or a guesswork type of a thing. It needs to be well motivated and be able to say, if you are saying in my business per month I make 100,000 as a projection, tell us why, and then give us proper motivation for that. Your banking information, you obviously have your bank that you're banking with. Maybe you've got facilities with that particular bank. You need to share that information. Supply information, very critical. We are as good, your business sustainability is as good as the strength of its suppliers. So we need to know that, if you're running a restaurant, you're selling things that that are supplied by your suppliers, as it were. So we need to understand that and your relationship with your suppliers. The staffing, people that are working for you, and then the compliance environment, I think this was emphasized a lot. And the SWOT analysis, again, SWOT analysis need to be practical. Because sometimes it's easy to just look at the SWOT analysis and just use the theory textbook method around the SWOT. But, know your strength, exactly what makes you strong as a business, because that's where you need to capitalize. And again, know your weaknesses, because sometimes, when people apply for funding, they want to limit the weaknesses to say that if I can expose my weaknesses, I won't get the funding. And it's actually the other way around. So if you know exactly your weaknesses, it means you understand your business, and you become vulnerable by your weaknesses. And if you look at this and say, okay, for that type of weakness, as an example, we can plug in a mentor and pay that mentor to deal with that particular internal weakness. So you need to be honest and be able to tell us that. Opportunities, again, you need to take advantage of those opportunities. The threats, you've got very little control on the threats, which are external by nature, but you need to strategize. When you see the strategize around things that you can't change, how do we navigate your business? So we do check those kind of things in terms of SWOT analysis. This is an important document because it actually makes or breaks your application. Everything, the decision that we take, if it's not a contract, is based on what is contained in this document. So those are our contact details. You can visit our website. The presentation will be shared, but we can get more information on our website. I didn't say anything about application forms. Why? Because we do not use application forms. We've got an online application portal. So when you visit our website, you can click under Apply for Finance. There's a portal that you can put your information there. It will then pre-screen your business. So the portal is not like we have digitized the application form. It's a pre-screening portal. Remember, I spoke about issues of eligibility and exclusion. So you don't have to memorize those things, because this portal is built such that if you fall outside of what we are mandated to serve as an entity, the portal will actually be able to tell you that SEFA cannot assist, but because it's built with other lenders on the platform, it will then redirect you. Let me give an example. Let's say you are applying for 16 million rands. Our maximum is 50. It will then say, no, SEFA does not have a program to assist you. However, you can approach, for instance, IDC, NEF, whatever the case is, because that portal is built with those other lenders that are in the ecosystem. You can dial our switchboard if you need more information. You might have applied at SEFA and then you have a bit of a complaint. We have got a dedicated complaints email that you can drop the complaint in there. We'll do our best to make sure that we resolve that particular complaint, or follow us on our various social media channels. So, Program Director, I will end here and then hand back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ntate Mashela, for this information, particularly the information that you shared with us on your various programs and application processes. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we will share this information with you as has been indicated in the chat box. We also have noted some of the questions in the Q&A tab. Please also use the contact details that Ntate Mashela has shared with us. Plus, also visit their website on www.sefa.org.za for more information on this institution and the programs that it provides. We now have entered into the third part of our webinar, ladies and gentlemen, which is the Q&A segment. I will now hand over to Linda Maluleka, who is going to be our moderator for this segment. You are given an opportunity to raise related questions as those that have been placed in the chat box. And our panel of experts from SARS, SEDA, SEFA, the DTIC, and the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, they will be able to answer your questions. Our moderator, who's Ms. Linda Maluleka, is an operations manager in licensing and accreditation at SARS. She has served in the customs environment at SARS for over 16 years. She has studied import and export management with UCT and is currently enrolled to complete her bachelor's degree specializing in risk management. She has served as a secretary for the Gauteng South and Central Employment and Skills Development Committee within the organization, and her career in the customs environment does indeed span a vast array of roles, including as team support, in the inspections environment, assessment and technical review, and she's very passionate about empowering women and supporting the creation of a conducive and pleasant working environment within SARS. With that being said, it's over to you, Linda. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. This has been quite beautiful to hear so many opportunities that we actually have that we can take advantage of. So I'm so excited, and Linda Maluleke, I'm here to ensure that indeed we have questions and answers taking place, and that we all leave this place empowered, feeling empowered, and understanding exactly what we can take from all of this. So what does it mean to be empowered? Being empowered means that we leave this place having the knowledge and confidence to make a decision in terms of ourselves and trade, you know. So we are receiving funding, guidance, mentorship, and support. And I urge every woman and persons with disabilities to take advantage of this, as well as the youth, because at the end of the day, we are here to be empowered. In the panel, we have Siti Phahlamohlaka from the Department of Trade and Industry. In his capacity, he is in export development and support as an assistant director. He is offering more of export incentives, export training, and mentoring. And then we have Leah Cheriano from Small Enterprise Development Agency, and she will be talking about SheTrace. She is a specialist in the program implementation in terms of export development. She plays a pivotal role in managing the delivering of CEDA Export Development Program and SheTrace Program and flagmanship in terms of the Trade Center and empowering women in South Africa. Then we have Ananguni from the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. She is a director, and she's responsible for economic empowerment of women. So that is talking about regarding rights and transformation and economic justice. We also have our previous speaker, Mr. Don Mashele, who has guided us clearly through the finance program. He's the head of development in impact support. Then we are followed by Zandi Lemtetwa from the Authorized Economic Operator, AEO program. She'll be joining us to give us more insight in terms of the product offering for AEO. We have Renee Chabana from SARS. She is coming with from legal products as a specialist in terms of corporate income tax, and she's offering guidance in terms of interpretations and rulings. Then we have Patricia Jones. She specializes in customs and product processes. She's the lead when it comes to customs and product and processes. In terms of what she supplies, or her offering is in terms of supply chain management, in terms of the customs products and the customs processes. We also have Nkolisi Radebe. Nkolisi Radebe from Leverage Legal Products, who is a consultant in terms of personal income tax, also coming from the space of interpretation and rulings. We also have Wandisa Mujivi. She's a SARS branch manager coming from taxpayer engagement, and she's a leader in terms of gender equality and persons with disabilities unit. We'll be collaborating with her with regards to the various guidance here. We've got Patience Khadebe from small, medium, and micro enterprises in terms of taxpayer and trader segment. She is a specialist in terms of education and outreach. So we look forward to engaging each and every one of you. We look forward to having our questions answered and getting more guidance. First things first, the first person who will be requested to go through for us and give us guidance in terms of SheTrace is Leah Cheriano. Please, Leah, guide us through what you have for women and persons with disabilities in terms of the programs that you are offering? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Program Director. I think my name is Leah Cherian, and I am responsible for export development and the She Trades program at SEDA. And just to give you a bit of briefing on the She Trades program, the program, this is a global initiative. It is led by the International Trade Centre, and it aims to connect women entrepreneurs to international markets, provide them with the resources, networks, and support the needs to expand their business globally. So in South Africa, this program is implemented through a strategic partnership involving the Department of Small Business Development, the Small Enterprise Development Agency, and the ITC. So this partnership is very crucial in aligning the She Trades program with South Africa's national goals of economic inclusion, gender equality, and sustainable development. This program in South Africa is also designed to achieve the following key objectives. We want to ensure that women entrepreneurs are empowered. So this program seeks to empower women entrepreneurs by providing them with the necessary skills, the knowledge, and opportunities to succeed in international market. We want to enhance market access. Through this, we aim to facilitate the entry of women-owned businesses into global value chains, thereby increasing the international market presence. We want to build the capacity, and through this, we will be providing targeted training and capacity building initiatives to enhance the business acumen, export readiness, and competitive edge of women entrepreneurs. And lastly, we want to promote inclusive growth. So this program supports the integration of women and disabled persons into the economic mainstream, fostering inclusive growth and reducing inequality. So SEDA plays a central role in the on-the-ground implementation of the program, leveraging its extensive network of branches across South Africa's provinces to reach women entrepreneurs both in the urban and in the rural areas. The She Trades program is rolled out across South Africa through SEDA's extensive network of provincial branches, which is located in almost every municipality in South Africa. And this decentralized approach ensures that the program reaches women entrepreneurs, especially those who are disabled, in all corners of the country, including those in remote and undeserved areas. SEDA provides training and workshops, and these are organized at regular training sessions, workshops, or mentorship programs to build the capacities of women entrepreneurs. These sessions cover essential topics such as export readiness, digital marketing, financial management, and compliance with international trade regulations. We also provide market linkages and trade facilitation. SEDA facilitates connection between women entrepreneurs and international buyers, partners, and investors. This is done through the trade fairs, missions, business-to-business meetings, and other networking events, both physically and virtually. The ongoing support SEDA provides is through their business advisory services, technical assistance, and indirect access to funding opportunities to women entrepreneurs long after the initial training, ensuring sustained growth and development. The She Trades program in South Africa is inclusive, encourages the participation of people with disabilities, recognizing the additional challenges faced by disabled individuals in accessing economic opportunities. The program, or SEDA, is in partnership with MODE, or Medunsa Organization for Disabled Entrepreneurs, and actively works to empower them. MODE, originally established as a project of the Medunsa Occupational Therapy Department, addresses the isolation experienced by disabled persons by empowering them with holistic, vocational, and business skills and entrepreneurial development. So through a unique approach to business skills training, MODE prepares disabled individuals for self-employment, helping them launch and manage their own small enterprises. MODE's partnership with SEDA is critical in extending the reach of these services, ensuring that disabled entrepreneurs can benefit from the She Trades and MODE program and contribute meaningfully to the economy. The She Trades program offers significant benefits both for women entrepreneurs and for South Africa as a whole. Women entrepreneurs gain access to international markets, leading to increased revenues, business growth, and job creation. This empowerment contributes to the economic independence of women and the reductions of gender inequality. By integrating women and disabled persons into economic mainstream, the program promotes inclusive growth, helping to reduce poverty and inequality across the country. The program also is successful in expanding the export capacity of women-owned businesses, contributes to South Africa's broader economic goals, including increased export revenues, job creation, and economic diversification. And lastly, the focus on empowering women and disabled persons through sustainable business practices ensures long-term social and economic impact, contributing to overall resilience and development of South Africa. I conclude by saying that the She Trades program in South Africa is a powerful tool for promoting economic inclusion and empowering women entrepreneurs. Through the collaborative efforts of DSBD, SEDA, ITC, and partners like MODE, the program not only enhances the global competitiveness of South African disabled women businesses, but also fosters a more inclusive and equitable economy. By encouraging the participation of disabled persons and providing targeted support, the She Trades program is helpful to build a more resilient, diverse, and prosperous South Africa. I would like to leave you with this. Remember, your potential is limitless, and your unique perspective is your greatest strength. As you pursue your goals in trade, know that challenges are only stepping stones on your path to success. Stay resilient, keep pushing boundaries, and never stop believing in your abilities. The world of trade is wide open for you. Embrace the opportunities, stay committed to growth, and continue to make your mark. Your success not only empowers you, but also inspires others to rise and thrive. Over to you, Madam Chair.
Very empowering words, very building. If there's one thing that we can take away is that we are built by women that stand in power, that ensure that they empower other women. So this is a great program that I hope that we are all listening and we are all taking notes of what's being offered here. What I'd like to know from you, Leah, is in terms of the registration process, how do we onboard with you? What is the criteria? What is it that we have to bring in order to be a part of this journey and in order to benefit from this export development program that you have?
We like the fact that we like to keep it simple. So I will be sharing the form on the link in the chat box. And our women entrepreneurs, may I please stress on the part that the women entrepreneurs, please register on the link that is provided, and you will be automatically a She Trades member. And we request that you go to your nearest SEDA branch for them to assist you further with all of the business development services that the branch offers.
That sounds wonderful. Kindly give us a slight idea of, here I am having a perishables company, and what is the first thing that you would expect when I fill in that? Would it be my CIPC documentation, my registration documentation? What is it that you want? Should I bring in my business plan? Does it need to be formal, or is it a program that will also allow me to get additional assistance on how to formulate the best kind of plan when I enroll or when I come and register for with the development agency?
Okay, with SEDA, we request that when you come in, it's usually an ID, because we assist with starting up a business also. With the She Trades program, we want to have a formal business in place before you become a She Trades member, because once you are a formal business, it assists us to ensure that we build your capacity, we build your skills so that you are working towards being export ready. And when you are on the journey of being export ready, there are formalized practices, there are formalized certifications that you need to have in order for you to be starting to export. So with the She Trades program, we request a formal business that is registered. But if you want to be a SEDA client, we request an ID document. You come into the SEDA branch and we assist the startups. We assist those that do not have a business plan. Our interventions are such that SEDA pays up to 90% of the fee when it comes to hiring a service provider for a business plan, and the client pays up to 10%. So all of the additional assistance, like your marketing interventions, we assist you with the billboard, we assist you with creating a website, with business cards, with pamphlets and brochures. All of that is also up to 10% the client pays, and up to 90% SEDA pays.
It sounds like a very beautiful journey indeed. And in terms of mentorship, to what extent do you hold the hand of a new entering person into the program? When can you tell that the client is now ready? And how do you measure the readiness of the client for the export market, or for the market, even the local market, indeed, to say, you've done your part, now we say, Linda, you are ready to continue on your own?
Thank you, Linda. That is a very, very good question, because the reason I say it's a good question is because our clients make the mistake of wanting to jump in at the wrong train station, and they miss out on all the other train stations where there's actual important business development that needs to take place. So with SEDA, with our export development program, we work on it in 3 levels. So we say the level 3 is your basic level. That is where the information sharing happens. That is where we get your company registered. That is where the company is assessed to see what sort of gaps you have in your business, and a business advisor forms an action plan based on those action plan. That can be business development services, or it can be trainings that you're lacking in, for example, basic business skills, financial management, or so forth. And then we've got an export readiness assessment. So if you score less than 60%, that means you're not ready for export. We want you to work within the branch in developing a business. If you score from 60 to 69%, we try and put you into the local market by exposing you to the local trade exhibitions. And furthermore, we provide you with sector-specific trainings with regards to, for example, your manufacturing support program. We want you to make sure that you get your quality and management standards in place. Your product should be tested. You're compliant with regards to ensuring you've got your ISO trainings. If you're in the food industry, we want to ensure that you've got your HACCP trainings. And all of this is audited also. So all of this takes time, and it's a journey. So once you are having 70% of an export readiness assessment, and you've got a 500,000 rands annual turnover, we start taking you for international events like trade exhibitions and your missions, provided that your product is relevant for the market that we're looking at. So it's an entire journey. You come back, and furthermore, we still provide you with the 6-month mentorship program, where now you are given the opportunity to work with a mentor one-on-one and make those leads that you had at the event into deals and contracts. So we try and provide you with assistance right until the post mentorship, and you are with us as you're part of the SEDA family until about 35 million rands of annual turnover. Then we would like to hand it over to Siti and his colleagues at the DTIC, who can say, now we've done our part, now you take on the bigger businesses. That's how it works.
That is great support indeed. I'm excited. I hope everyone who's an esteemed guest here is excited. It sounds like great opportunities galore, and I hope that everyone here, every woman, youth, persons with disabilities, including our counterparts, the men, I hope they'll take advantage of this information and make use of it. Thank you so much, Leah. This was very insightful indeed. Thank you for your continued support. Next up, I'm going to give Siti Patlamuhlaka 5 minutes. Give us an idea of what happens in terms of these export incentives guide us in terms of your export training and the mentorship program that you have. What can women and persons with disability take advantage of coming from the Department of Trade and Industry?
Thank you, Program Director, and good morning to traders and our guests. From the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, I feel like I should just go home after Leah has spoken, but it's fine. I'll come because we are a sister party to, I mean, a sister department to SEFA. So my department is mandated to transform the economy of South Africa. So I'm from the division called Exports within the DTIC. Our mandate as an exports division is to increase exports. How do we increase exports? We start with the trainings are different from what Leah she was saying. Ours is just to, because we know that SEDA is grooming the companies. Actually, we prefer after they groom the companies, then they come to us. So we focus on the export training, where we train the companies from A to Z on what you need to export. We focus on the language that you're going to use. We focus on how you can budget, how you can market. And after you have been trained, we have partnered with Germany. We have a mentorship program where the Germans are assisting us to mentor our SMMEs. It's a 6 months. Is free of charge. You go to Germany for a month, but then the program will run for 6 months. Fortunately, those companies that have mentored by the Germans, 90% of them, they are now exporting. So that's the first unit under our exports division called Export Development and Support. After we are sure that you are developed and you are mentored, we are trained, then we have the EMEA scheme. The EMEA scheme, EMEA stands for Export Marketing and Investment Assistance. That's where now there will be trade fairs that Leah talked about, where now we finance you to go and promote and market your products internationally. So we are there for you when, let's say we have the group participation where we advertise 6 months before, then you have to apply. Then if maybe because it's a sector specific, let's say your sector is not included within that financial year, but then you see another exhibition that is not from our calendar, you can apply. That one we call it individual participation. We call it individual participation because we have seen trade fair that is not on our calendar. We say apply first from us. Then we'll assess your application. Then we approve. Then we say now you can go. But the unfortunate part with individual participation is that you have to pay for yourself and then come and claim back what we have approved. Then you also have a market research incentive where you have a product, but you want to know where you can export. So we say you can apply to go and do a market research for your product. So we also have the unit called Export Promotion, where they do a research in terms of the products where you can go and trade. When we do our trade fairs, normally we based on the research that our unit Export Promotion have done, where they will say we are going to Brazil, knowing very well if we take the companies in beverages, they will do well in Brazil. So those our units is 3 of them that we encourage persons with disability and women to apply for. They will be given first preferences when we adjudicate the applications. I will end there.
Thank you, Siti. It's quite insightful. You mentioned Germany. Which other countries do you usually have these exhibitions in? Which other countries are favorable to work with, or you've found that they yield a higher percentage in terms of, you mentioned 90% to say, we are finding that those that go for the program, 90% are now fully trained, export ready, and fully operational. Which other countries other than Germany are you finding this additional support with?
Okay, for German is a mentorship. We have partnered them with mentorship, but for like trade fairs, we do Europe, we do Africa, we do America. Actually, we do the whole world, so we don't have a limitation. But then our trade fairs, they are based on the research to say, here are opportunities. So we have opportunities by regions. So when we go to Middle East, we already know there is a demand for these products in Middle East. And then we are based on like the trade agreements that we have. Let's say we have like trade agreements with China to say if we have to trade with sugar, then these are conditions and are favorable. Then when we plan the mission to China, we now prefer the companies that like they're trading with sugar. So it's based on a research, but then it's all over the world. But now, due to FCTA, that is just signed and South Africa is part of. So the missions now mostly will be like prioritizing African like continent. So I've seen the question where they say, where can we find like the calendar is on our website, but now the calendar is delayed because it's no administration for now. We are working on it. Look up for it. I won't give a time frame, but then we are working on it because of the new administration and the new minister. But it will come.
It sounds like very good support. It sounds like very good support. And I think that we all have heard you, and we all look forward to, engaging further if necessary in order to get onto the program. And I hope that our stakeholders and esteemed guests will take advantage of this. This is actually quite empowering. Thank you for that. And in addition to that, how do we then go through the claims process? Here I've attended one of the programs that you have, and I've self-funded. How do I go about claiming from you once I've benefited, I've gone to another country and I now want to claim? How do I do those processes?
You're asking in terms of individual participation
Yes.
when you went alone. Oh, okay.
Yes.
There's a application form on our system. Remember, we'll have approved you. You just don't go without our approval. So we all have all your information. So when you come back, you just like provide us with the report. We'll need to know, you must give us the boarding passports to prove that you went there. Then the pictures, the video. Then there will be assessment after each and every trade show that we have to sign. Then you provide us with that information. But then before you go, you will have seen what we want when you come back from the trade fair. But there is a form, the application form that you have to complete.
Mr. Phahlamohlaka, we've got a very interesting question here that is linking to the kind of commodities that you usually work with. We've got a question that says, the lady says she works with detergents. Do you look, is there a particular list of highly valued commodities within this export space currently that is ongoing?
Okay, we have the priority sectors that we have prioritized, that we are definitely sure that if we promote these sectors in a certain region or like country, then we can have a return on investment. But however, like we have where you can do your own research, because our research it might be limited. But then if you want to go, if your sector is not covered in our research, now you can apply and go to do your own research. Or if maybe you see that we don't have it, then you can write to us. We have a foreign economic representative that they do a research. You can give us your like your product. If maybe you want to see or that like product can sell in China, then we have a foreign economic representative in China. We can now keep in touch to say, can this like product work? That's just for information. But then if it's not satisfactory, then you want to go and do a research on our own, then you can apply for it.
Very interesting. In terms of the export training, do we have perhaps a guide? Is there specific one, let's say for perishables, specific one for non-perishables, or is it just export training as a whole in one package?
For export training, is not sector specific. The information is inclusive. So normally you apply first. After we have seen the applications, now we know when we advertise for experts in terms of training, we know which topics we can cover. So it's based on the companies that they have applied. Then now we have to create a content so that everyone who's going to attend that expert like training will come back like capacitated with information, and then what is required in terms of exporting such products.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Siti. Very insightful. Next in line, we have Ananguni from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability. She's a director there. Can you kindly, for 5 minutes, give us a guide on what you have in terms of your offering for the program today? Thank you, Anna.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and good morning to everyone. My name is Anna Mguni from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Allow me just to give you a very high-level presentation on what we are offering. Our mandate as the department is to lead on socio-economic transformation and implementation of the empowerment and participation of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. We do that through mainstreaming by encouraging government departments to mainstream the targeted groups. This is done by ensuring that when they develop their programs, their strategies, their policies, and when they initiate projects and budgets, they need to ensure that the targeted groups, which are women, youth, and persons with disabilities, are catered for in those programs. We also do advocacy and monitoring, as well as evaluation. I am specifically from a unit called Economic Empowerment of Women. We have quarterly targeted interventions that we have on how we empower women, youth, and persons with disabilities. In these interventions, we support economic empowerment and participation for women, youth, and persons disabilities in various sectors of the economy. For example, we have signed an MOU with the Department of Agriculture, whereby we organize capacity development workshops. We invite women, youth and persons with disabilities in these workshops, and other experts in the agriculture sector. They come and provide information to these targeted groups regarding economic opportunities that are there in the agricultural space. And we also work together with the local municipalities, especially the local economic development units, whereby we also we request them to share information on how can women, youth and persons with disabilities be empowered at the local level. We also have another program called Sanitary Dignity Program, whereby we also encourage, we normally have capacity building workshops also in this program, whereby we encourage more women to participate in this sector. We are partnering with a Department of Small Business Development in this sector. They and other stakeholders, they do share information on the funding mechanisms that they offer. And we also partner with DTIC in this program. We recently had a capacity building workshop at Lindiwe Sanitary Pads Factory, where we exposed women-owned enterprises who are also have the same interest in initiating such businesses in that factory. And we had the owner, which is a woman-owned enterprise, who shared information on the journey that she had on establishing this business. Also, this was a way of motivating other young women to, if they're interested in starting this kind of a business or any other form of business. And we also had the funding institutions who also came and provided information on various funding mechanisms where these young women, persons with disabilities can be able to access them. Some of the programs that we also have are in Women in Trade. We also invite experts in trade to share information with the targeted groups. We also target the sector of the green economy. We do the same thing whereby we raise awareness because we want to see more women participating in these sectors. We also have the National Strategic Plan, and in that plan we have the Pillar 5, which is economic power, where we also encourage more women to participate in the industries that were previously known as men industries. We have the Women Economic Assembly that we work with, which also we collaborate with them, whereby they also unlock economic opportunities for women. We also partnered with the presidency, and they also on a monthly basis provide capacity building workshops targeting rural areas or rural provinces to encourage more women to also participate in various businesses. And the other program that we have, it's a financial inclusion, whereby we encourage women-owned cooperatives to enter into the banking sector. We are currently assisting this co-op owned by women to register in this sector. And they've already, they're in the process of registering. And this is mainly to also ensure that we promote entrepreneurship in the banking sector. So basically what we normally do is to play a role of coordination. We're coordinating stakeholders, and we organize women, youth and persons with disabilities to come into whatever area that we have identified, working with the municipalities and other key stakeholders to raise awareness of various programs as per the key priorities of government, and to unlock economic opportunities for these targeted groups. And we're also promoting mainstreaming. In a nutshell, that is what we are offering as a department, but we also have other units that are dealing with issues of monitoring and evaluation, and also focusing on social issues for these targeted groups. Thank you very much. that will be the end of the presentation.
Thank you. Very interesting. You coordinate quite a bit. It sounds quite interesting. I hope we'll take advantage of that. I'm looking at, there are certain segments that we need to touch on. I'll just hand over a question, one or two, to our counterparts that I've listed here, and then we'll take it from there. I would like to start with Renee Tabani. As a business, what happens if I start making 1 million rand and above, and while I am registered for turnover tax?
Essentially, you will be deregistered. It is considered a compulsory deregistration, and you will be deregistered from the beginning of the month, following the month during which you no longer qualify for turnover tax. That's in a nutshell. Thanks.
Wow, interesting. It's straightforward, to the point. Much appreciated. So anything that is above 1 million, deregistration will take place. Thank you so much, Renee. I'd like to hand this over to Zandile Mthethwa. Zandile, what is AEO and how is AEO beneficial to my business?
Thank you, Linda. So AEO is a concept representing a partnership arrangement between customs and industry that is designed to provide incentives for traders that meet defined supply chain security standards and criteria. So once the trader is accredited and has met all the criteria as specified in the Act, they will then enjoy the accreditation benefits. So this is assisting a lot in businesses that are trading, global trade, in global trade. This is to ensure that support is provided to traders. And also reducing cost as well as red tape of doing business in South Africa. We've had quite a few challenges in our ports. We have a number of challenges. We know when you're importing certain items or consignments, you have issues when you're exporting to certain countries. As it has been noted here, you have to look at the political welfare of that particular country and those sorts of things. So this program assists traders that are in the trading space and provide them with certain benefits. So some of those benefits, they include the appointment of a relationship manager. So this is your go-to person when it comes to customs issues. You are able to contact this person and, they are able to call them your runner, assist you with whatever issue that you might have involving customs. They are able to contact various stakeholders internally in terms of if you have a delayed shipment, if you have any other issues that you might like to be attended to by customs. Some of the additional benefits, they include reduced security amounts. When you're doing business with customs, we are prioritizing your inspections when it comes to stopped or detained goods. We are expediting processes for our accredited clients so that it can be easier to make business with customs and businesses can be able to focus on their businesses instead of the ups and downs between themselves and customs and all the red tapes that is taking place in between. We are also providing, once you are accredited, a logo that will be useful in terms of marketing. So your business partners, your suppliers, your customers will be able to see that you are now an accredited client with customs or with SARS, if I should say, and you will be able to get more business. Most businesses would like to do business with legitimate businesses, especially when it comes to SARS. So if you have that logo on, then they are able to see that this trader has undergone the process of accreditation. It's quite a useful program when you are in the trading space. So we would encourage businesses that are in the trading business to actually look at joining the AEO program. We are also having MRAs, we call them mutual recognition arrangements with other countries, especially for our exporting businesses, where you will be recognized as an accredited client in that specific country that we have an MRA with, if you are accredited in South Africa, which will make it easier for you to facilitate your consignment in those specific countries. One of those countries is one of the major business countries in the world, which is your China. So we have an MRA with China. So if we are exporting to China or doing business with China, then you will be able to benefit from the MRA that we have with them. Some include your Eswatini, your Lesotho, your Namibia, and Botswana. So we would encourage our clients to do so. If you want more information on the program, you can email us at authorized economic operator at sars.gov.za. We are also on the website, the SARS website. You go to customs, accreditation, and then you will find the AEO link there, which will give you more information, and also people that would like to, you'll be able to contact for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. That was quite beautiful, because it sounds like everyone should be accredited and be getting those benefits. So thank you for that. I'm going to hand this one to Nkonisi Radebe. Mr. Radebe, can you please guide us in terms of what is the additional medical expenses tax credit that applies to persons with disabilities?
Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for that question. The medical tax credit essentially is a rebate against taxes payable. Now, every taxpayer has a medical tax credit, but in the case of persons with disabilities, the legislation goes further by providing an additional medical tax credit. And that additional medical tax credit is utilized for purposes of offering persons with disabilities a deduction which reduces their tax payable. However, the expenses that they incurred must be necessarily connected with their disability. And for more information around this, we do publish on our website as SARS a list of qualifying expenses that persons with disabilities can get each and every single tax year. And I would urge our esteemed guests on the line, when they have the time, to actually go check on our website and go through that list. It is quite beneficial.
Insightful, Nkolisi. Thank you for that. I have one last question. I'll hand it over to Patience Radebe. I have received an email with a link that says SMME newsletter from SARS. Is it legitimate?
Thank you, Ms. Facilitator. Yes, it is from SARS. We have newsletters that we produce quarterly to our SMMEs, and then they are aligned to our compliance calendar. They contain information like tax incentives, and I would urge our taxpayers to always have the correct details at SARS, so that the products that we produce, we are able to reach them. And the reason we are sending them through emails, this is the preferred channel that our taxpayers told us they would want to receive it through. It is also on our website. So yes, don't delete those emails. It is us trying to keep you compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Patience Radebe, which is dealing with SMME segment in terms of education. So we can trust that this information is legitimate and it is through the correct channels. That will be all for the Q&As. Thank you for all your participation. Handing over to Katlego.
Thank you very much, Linda. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, we have run over our time slightly. We thank you very much for your patience. We thank the ladies and gentlemen on the line for your participation in the chat box. We hope that all your questions have been answered. I have noted the responses that SEFA and SEDA has continued to use the email address womenandpwdwebinar@sars.gov.za. For any of your questions, they will be answered directly. As indicated in the chat box, we will also provide a frequently asked questions link and a tab on the SARS website for questions that maybe were not answered adequately and you need more information. All of this will be made available on our SARS website at www.sars.gov.za. Please note that this information under this tab is also available in different languages, including isiZulu, Sesotho, Sepedi, isiXhosa, Xitsonga, and Afrikaans. We would like to take this opportunity to also thank our valued partners in this webinar, SEDA, SEFA, SheTrades, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, for the support in ensuring that all the relevant information that you've made available is reaching the relevant people, and for also highlighting the various programs that you provide. Thank you very much to our internal partners, the SMME segment, the presenters, our panel of experts, the taxpayer and trader education team, our technical team, and our communications team for making this webinar available and for it to be a success, because I believe it has been. Ladies and gentlemen, please, before you leave, and before we bid you farewell, remember that at the end of this webinar, you will be directed to a survey. As I indicated at the beginning of the program, we would greatly appreciate your feedback on the information that has been provided to you today, which will assist us in doing better in future. We wish you all a great day further, and please remember that your tax matters. We thank you very much for your time and your patience, and we'd like to bid you farewell. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Fellow South Africans, I'm addressing you this evening.
All your years of paying tax, you helped us overcome our darkest hour. You, along with every other loyal taxpayer, helped build this nation. Thank you for every life you saved and for every risk you braved, for giving our future generation a healthy start. When you saw many of our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. Thank you for contributing to the important services our vulnerable communities rely on every day. To all taxpayers and traders, continue to pay your tax because it matters to millions of South Africans who depend on it. Your tax matters.